Hey, how's it going? It's Justin McDonald here with another special report on a quote. There are no there are no business to business buyer of anything for whom some factors other than price aren't relevant and important. And this is $1 million fact from Dan Kennedy. There's no business to business buyer. Business to business buyer being, you could be in a business right now. Maybe you're a coach or a mentor of some sort. Um, or maybe you have stuff for sale that's, hold on one second. I just gotta close my door because I'm getting too much, oh, it's still there. That's good. I just want to close my door and open the window because it's been like a really weird day outside as far as the weather goes. There are no business to business buyer. So like other business to business buyers too could be like like if you have a marketing stuff, promotional stuff, um there could be other things that are like delegated or outsourced in a business. And those businesses, um, even like retail stores too, there's usually somebody in upper management or something like that is like doing P&Os, purchases and orders. And a lot of times we just assume that price is the only factor. And I just kind of wrote this down just like 10 minutes ago or so, and I was actually like, a bunch of things came to mind when I was actually reading this quote. There's no business to business buyer, anything for whom some factors other than price aren't relevant and important. So, like, think about even like all these guys out there that do like landscaping and roofing and snow removal, plumbing, um, HVAC stuff, um, furnace stuff, probably solar stuff too, carpentry, um, window washing, carpet cleaning, all those like service kind of businesses too. Like even them, them as in like the people that own the businesses and the people that make the purchase orders. A lot of times you can see that there's definitely some certain factors that will make or drive a sale other than just the price. And I'll give you an example actually. A few of them. Politics. I bet you there's a lot of guys out there that have, and women too, that have all different kinds of businesses where politics could play a big part of it too. So depending on what business that they're in, if they are like kind of vocal about who they are siding with when it comes to politics, I guess you can say, and they can sense that out in another business, oh, for sure, they'll definitely spend more money too, just because like somebody does or doesn't have a Trump flag or a sticker or "Let's Go Brendan" sticker or whatever. Like that will definitely drive a sale or drive away from a sale. 100%. Stuff like that. And now we're getting like more in the consumer and business territory, but it people that buy stuff for businesses, like just because it's B2B, I wrote down B2B, it's really, if you think about it, I mean, I know with AI and everything, but it's actually P2P, right? Because there's a person that's selling and making the purchase orders, and there's the other place too. So as a person, there's people behind it. Even if it's a phone call, even if it's an email, even if it's a fax or in person, like door to door, whatever it is, it's actually person to person. But because both people are basically representing a business, we call it business to business buyer. So that's just one example. Another example could be sports. I mean, I live in New England, so if somebody has like a Red Sox Nation, or Patriots Nation, or anything like that, or Celtics or Boston Bruins, anything like that, or same thing, could drive a sale or drive away from a sale. I've even seen like those little 2x3 ads that you would see, or 4x3 ads, those small ads you'd see in like newspapers and magazines. I've even seen them rock certain sports teams, um, like in their ad or whatever too, and also like like business to person too. That one definitely is used a lot. I know we're talking about business to business here, but it just made me think about if there's like, come here to see the Pats game, come here to see uh, the Red Sox. Like I've seen a lot of ads in all different like papers and literature and like banner ads and things like that. Um, and even like going by places, like instead of just saying, hey, come see the big game here on our flat screen TVs, X amount of TVs they got there, right? High definition, they will say, you know, come here to see the Super Bowl or the Pats play or whatever. They'll whatever like the home team is, where like more than like 50% of people are speculated to like a certain team. That's what that they will go to that side, and I think the same thing. It will drive away or drive certain people to that business. Sports bars do it all the time too. They'll say what sports teams they're basically representing. And you know what? People that don't support those teams will still go there based on the fact that they like, there's a common thread. They like football, right? They like sports. I mean, you could take a step back too. So it doesn't necessarily make it the only factor, but again, there's other factors other than price that are relevant and important. And going back to that too, even though we're talking about business to person, like, oh, I'm sure I don't drink alcohol, but I'm sure there's plenty of guys that drink beer, and women too, that drink beer, and if there's a row of bars to go to and they like a particular team, right? Or they have particular political views. Like what I was saying about the Trump or lack of Trump things. There's a rainbow flag in front of the place. There's not a rainbow flag in front of the place. There's specific sports teams in front of a place. There's lack of it. Those will definitely drive people to drink and patronize at those places based on what I just said, the lack of having it or having it. So like I don't want to get like too deep into social aspects of it, but I mean those are the factors that will drive away or drive traffic too. Like we can even talk about COVID stuff for like 10 seconds, right? Because I don't want to talk about that too much. Because I know, like, you know, everyone has mixed opinions about that. But, like, that too. Like, somebody that's, like, super pro vaccines and all that and COVID stuff, like, and is very vocal about it, and you have to wear masks and all that stuff, like, and then you have like the opposite of that too, where it's like COVID's over, you don't have to wear a mask, we're not with vaccines or whatever, right? Or people that are just in the middle and they're just like whatever. Um, all those standing points will also determine whether or not somebody does business on this scale and that scale, on a person to person scale, on a business to person scale, on a business to business scale. And especially now things are way looser. But if we go back a year, or if we go back a couple years, even what Dan Kennedy said was absolutely right, especially in like the time that we were in, where it was like after the pandemic part, where things were starting to loosen up. This right here was like really, um, this was a big one because certain businesses would or wouldn't participate in even being open or do business with certain folk if they weren't like, if they weren't vaccinated, if they didn't have proper procedures, or there was other factors that would delay the process too. Like, hey, some people blacklisted some companies, some people got blacklisted, some people. There's just like all these other factors that came in because of COVID too. That like we can go on and on about, like about shipping delays, about people like dropping out of the workforce. There's just like all these factors. Like a lot of people decided to stop working altogether, and a lot of people realized that working remotely was more of a thing to do. So now, like, this quote right here from Dan Kennedy becomes more and more and more relevant. Like, and I'm sure when he was writing this too, he was probably talking about more like, you know, lawyers and doctors and chiropractors and like marketing companies and all these other businesses that like get delegation and that delegate and do a lot of outsourcing. Like I think that's what Dan Kennedy was talking about back then. But now, like now that we had like Trump as a president and we had COVID, and now we have other social issues, if you know what I'm saying, going on right now. This is definitely relevant right now. This quote is. So like, and yeah, like there's definitely like all those things that I just mentioned when it comes to like the gender identity stuff to political stuff to sports stuff to COVID stuff. Those 4 points right there, like where somebody stands on those 4 things, on the gender issues, on the sports stuff, um, and all, you know what I mean, politics and COVID. I'm just trying to think of other ones that are also big right now, but like those are like the four. Those are like the 4 big ones that are like universally going to affect like the most amount of businesses and whether or not somebody wants to do business, in my opinion. But there could be some other ones too. But I think the point of this too is that this starts to become like somebody's unique selling proposition too. And that's why you can't just have price be the only factor that differentiates you from all the other businesses. You have to, you don't have to take a stance on all that social stuff. You don't have to take a stance on political stuff. You don't have to take a stance on COVID stuff right now, and you really don't have to take a stance on politics or sports, because there's other things too that will factor in the decision, and I didn't even cover those. I just wanted to put those out there because those are like the easiest ones that we can attack. I mean, I feel like those those four things alone will determine whether or not a lot of people do business. It's just the way business is. It's just the way people are these days. Like, and people do buy on an emotional, for emotional reasons. So some other factors too that Dan Kennedy probably was, maybe I'm guessing, thinking about when he wrote that was location could be a big factor. Um, Also, ethnicity could be a big factor. Language barriers. I was just thinking too, the receptionist and front desk people could also determine, and like the person that answers the phone for a business, those people could also determine whether or not a business wants to do business with another, with each other. Business wants to do business with a business. Because um like this happens a lot too. I know Dan Kennedy mentioned this in the story one time too. Like, I think he had a name for it, but there sometimes in some businesses there will be like somebody that, we'll just say, I'm not gonna say what gender, but there'll be somebody at the front desk that's like maybe like super old, super out of shape, just super rude, and just like everybody that like has to check in to this like office, maybe it's a professional office of some sort. It's just like it's just such a drag having to see this hideous person. And I'm sorry, but that alone could drive a business or a person that is at a professional business away. And now, when you think about doctors, like all different specialists too, especially for ladies, I'm sure have special doctors that they see. And if somebody were to see any kind of like a psych doctor or like a therapist or a social worker or anybody that they would see on a deeper, like an emotional level, or just like their privacy is exposed at a certain level where it's like awkward, and it's even more awkward to have to like start that process all over with somebody else, I guess you can say. Like, can you see how there's other factors that could weigh in when somebody is making a purchase decision? So like, if somebody is going to see a doctor and they're spending crap tons of money on it, I mean, if they're like emotionally involved with that professional on some level, I'm just saying, like, they know the whole backstory, they know just like the deep dark secrets of that person's emotions and feelings and all that stuff, like that that person, they're gonna want to stick with that person as long as they can, instead of like price shop. um Maybe that's what something that Dan Kennedy might have been mentioning too. Like, so like we're talking again about your USP, like your unique selling proposition. Like, what makes your business unique? I'm just giving you another example of that too. There's tons of them. Um, Music. If you go into, if you were going to a certain place and they were playing music or lack of music, like if it was music that you really liked or really didn't like, that's gonna factor whether or not you want to make a purchase. It could be just the level of music. It could be like just like it could be music that you like, but it's just out of sync of the business environment. Maybe it's just like I can't do this. It's just too much for me. It's too tinny. It's too weird. It's too crazy. Like whatever it is, like there's a time and place for a lot of for a lot of different kinds of music too, and like um, for whatever reason, people are emotionally attached to music too. So it's like that could factor something in there too. Like, I mean, now that I'm thinking about music too, I mean, it's easy to say religion too. Religion is a huge one. If somebody were to bear a cross or not to bear a cross or have any other religious symbol or lack of it, or if that business runs a certain way that conflicts with somebody's religious beliefs, there you go. And if the business themselves is is kind of like promoting a message with either within the company or broadcasting it, and they're like, this is where we stand on our religious on our religious beliefs, then they are absolutely going to do business or not do business with a company that syncs with that. So just thinking too, there's other factors in the media. Like if you're a fan or not a fan, or if someone within the company is vocal about a certain controversial social topic on social media that's trending or gone viral, and it's in the know, and I mean, a lot of people are like buzzing about it, like those factors too could also drive a sale or drive away from a sale. Like for instance, a lot of companies these days too will decide to do business or withdraw doing business or pull sponsorship when somebody like a celebrity or something, or somebody else that like represents a company acts up and does something bad or something like that's in the media or social media. Then as a business too, like businesses don't want to like be associated with that kind of stuff, right? A lot of times, so that will definitely determine. So like, in a lot of like merchant accounts and stuff like that too, if they're, I mean, there's also other factors too. I was just thinking too, could be credit too. There could be there could be financial factors too. Why an association, like factors of, yeah, financial factors and association. Those are two other things that could also make a business or somebody want to do business with another business, because um again, like if a business has certain promotes certain religious views or certain political views or any other propaganda, like people are gonna pick up on that, and they're gonna be like, they're gonna either not care, go with it, or not go with it. And also, just to kind of wrap this up, because now if you think about it, there's just endless factors that can make somebody want to make a purchase. Like pick some of those too, by the way, because like, what I mean, you can't just survive on price alone. You have to actually sometimes pick sides when it comes to certain things. Like the four main ones I was talking about earlier that are like the core ones that a lot of people are talking about right now, like um sports, COVID, politics, and like, gender issues and all that. Um and all those other social issues, like you don't have to get involved in that stuff to raise awareness of your company or try to make yourself unique. But everything else we're talking about too, um, having good customer service. I know we've talked about that before. Like having good customer service could be what separates you from all the other companies, and that's and if that spreads, like having good customer service can spread like wildfire, because like it's becoming more rare these days, like people having good like morals and good manners and just being helpful and having good customer service skills, because it's becoming more and more rare as we move forward, I guess you can say, in time. When somebody does a good job or somebody does good customer service, it's like not even like the norm anymore. It's like surprising, and that will spread around too. So that can go back to this quote too. Um, so being like the man of your word, like um, having good testimonials by and referrals, like these could be all factors that could help your business out. Um, and and sometimes, like, if like who your dream clients are, like that you want to work with, and you're satisfied with the bulk of clients that you're getting on a consistent basis, then yeah, maybe it is time to take sides on certain issues too, because it's a risky move, but the people that are like loyal fans will become like loyal raging fans when you're tapping into certain kinds of emotions too. Um, and then these are the people that become like your lifetime customers too. So yeah, think about some of those factors we're talking about. And there's plenty more too, because we're talking about like music, um, like where a company identifies, like how successful they are like right now. Again, customer service, location, like the friendliness of the people that answer the phones and all that stuff, timeliness, um, respect for themselves, respect for their employees, right? There's certain big companies out there too that mistreat their employees, and I'm sure there's a lot of businesses that would rather not buy things from Walmart, right? Because they know, they don't treat their employees right. They get their stuff imported from countries that have like child labor, break child labor laws and stuff like that. So like, when somebody has a choice, right? When a business has a choice, like I am going to pick somewhere else first before I pick a place like that. So I think that's all I have to say for today. I know I kind of rambled for a while, but there's just endless amount of reasons why not one particular business, but like if you think about all the businesses that do business with each other, like there's always, if you dig deep enough, some other factors than just the price alone that's going to keep that business relationship secure. So if you're looking for more of me talking about stuff like this, my social media handle on a lot of the platforms is at results required, and you can send me an email at Justin McDonald, JustinMcDonald, USA@gmail.com. And even if you just send a blank email, I'll have you be on my email list. And I try to send one out every day. Sometimes it's about the things that we're talking about today, and sometimes it's things that are completely different, but a lot of it has to do with entrepreneurship and copywriting and marketing. So thank you for listening and or watching. Have a lovely day. Peace.